That may be the greatest catch I've ever seen in my life.
Alright guys, before we get into the video, I want to apologize. I do not have my mic with me. I actually lent it to a friend so he could interview Tyler Cohen, but I should get it back tomorrow and we should be back to usual tomorrow, so the audio may sound a little bit just lower quality in this video due to me having to use my laptop instead of my microphone. Yet we are going to just keep on going. I'm going to continue to get at least the people on Patreon a video every single day. Yesterday I went out there and I broke down Raheem Mostert and what I thought his value was in the San Francisco 49ers offense and what I thought that his dynasty value was going to do with him requesting a trade out of San Francisco and where that may be. If you are a member of Patreon and did not see that, I sent out the link in the Discord chat, but go down there. The link is in the description to go to Patreon, and if you are a member, you should have access to it. If not, you can always become a member to gain that. Now today, I'm going to talk about two running backs that I've been trying to get everywhere this offseason, and I've been actually trying to acquire them at a price that I thought was absurd. I thought that there was no reason for these two running backs to be priced so cheaply, and that's why if you look across all my dynasty rosters, I have a 0% exposure to Raheem Mostert, and I probably have these guys in about 20 to 30% of all my dynasty rosters, and I know that does not sound like a lot, but when you are in a lot of dynasty leagues, that adds up because your usual market share on a player should be hovering around 8% just because that's how the math checks out with the 12-team leagues. But nonetheless, going over here is willing to say that not only am I already overweight on these players, but if I can go out and try to acquire them for a little bit more than they previously cost, I think it's still worth it and their price still has room to grow. And first, let's talk about why. So if we look at this San Francisco 49ers offense, I mean, they are losing between Matt Breida, who they traded to Miami, and say they have to trade Raheem Mostert, say Raheem Mostert decides to hold out for some reason, just anything goes on wrong with Raheem Mostert where he's not on this roster. They are losing 260 carries, 33 receptions, and almost 1,700 yards between these two players. And this production has to go somewhere. I've been on record multiple times saying that I believe that the San Francisco 49ers are going to throw the ball a little bit more and rush the ball a little bit less compared to what they did last season. But nonetheless, they are still going to be one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL, and there has to be fantasy production where that is. So if we look at the two running backs that are still on this roster that were there last season, this is Tevin Coleman to start us off. Let me get into Tevin Coleman for a little bit. Tevin Coleman, I know it seems like he's been in the NFL forever. We've been talking about him forever, but he's actually younger than Raheem Mostert, which I would bet 99% of the people in the Dynasty community had no idea. But Tevin Coleman's 27 years old. And the thing with Tevin Coleman is he's pretty much been with Kyle Shanahan his entire NFL career. They've been apart, I believe, for a season, maybe two. But other than that, they've been paired together, and Tevin Coleman fits perfectly what Kyle Shanahan likes to do with his zone running scheme. And Tevin Coleman, I believe, still has the juice, and he's going to be the guy that gets the opportunity on this San Francisco 49ers team. I know some people are saying, hey, cut Tevin Coleman and use that money to pay Raheem Mostert. Like I said on the Patreon video yesterday, I don't even know if Raheem Mostert is more talented than Tevin Coleman whatsoever, and I know it's crazy to say that, but if we just trust me. I mean, if you are on Patreon and you have not listened to that Raheem Mostert video, I had a bunch of great statistics and a bunch of great data points on Raheem Mostert that I don't think many people understand. Now, Tevin Coleman, I know people are saying cut him, pay Raheem Mostert. If you cut Tevin Coleman, I mean, he's only taking up $5 million of the San Francisco 49ers cap in 2020. If you cut him, you're only going to be saving $3 million because $2 million of that is dead money. And after trading Matt Breida, I find it very hard to believe that they're going to go out there and try to save $3 million by cutting Tevin Coleman. So I've seen a couple of those takes on Twitter. I just wanted to say that they're completely wrong. I mean, I don't think that's logical. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And if we look at Tevin Coleman's career, so I love to do this. I'd love to zoom out and try to look at the player as a whole and see what kind of running back he is. So Tevin Coleman, throughout his entire career, including his rookie season where he did not get much work, has averaged almost 10 carries a game, 41 yards a game, and 4.3 yards per carry. I know this is nothing great. This is nothing special. But we have to keep in mind, if we are plugging this running back into a system that is consistently producing high-end fantasy running back success, this is something that we should be able to get excited about because we see Tevin Coleman, he's at least a league average running back. I'm not going to go out here and say Tevin Coleman by any means is a great NFL running back. Maybe at some point in his career when he had more juice, you could make that argument. But whenever I'm looking at Tevin Coleman, I'm looking at him as kind of like a buffed up version of Carlos Hyde. Like you take Carlos Hyde, you make him 20% better, and that's what you get with Tevin Coleman. And the thing with Tevin Coleman, most people don't understand, is he actually is a good pass catcher. I mean, he's by no means is he fantastic at it, but he's much better than Raheem Mostert. I mean, he averaged 1.6 receptions a game throughout his entire career, and this is completely skewed by his rookie season because his rookie season he pretty much logged no receptions. So if you take that out, I'd imagine this number would be a lot closer to 2 receptions a game, which is significant if you consider that there are really no other pass catching running backs in San Francisco, even if Raheem Mostert stayed on the roster. But we look at Tevin Coleman, I'm seeing him as a 3-down running back that may not be fantastic in any one facet of the game, but he is good enough in all of it, and we know that he's going into a situation where how many situations in the NFL can you say that are better than San Francisco right now to be a starting running back? So I would imagine that you see this Tevin Coleman profile where, I mean, he is kind of like Carlos Hyde, he can do it all, but he's going to a situation where he may get a good opportunity, almost 18 carries per game, maybe a couple receptions per game, and you would expect, I mean, hey, yeah, I mean, still, I would only value him as an RB3 and RB4. But the thing with Tevin Coleman is his price has been so far down this offseason. If we look at the last Patreon Flock League that just completed this morning, I mean, Tevin Coleman was drafted as the RB57. And if we look at where his price was in rookie picks, he was drafted before the 4.01 rookie pick, but right after the 3.12. So what this says is his price in your dynasty leagues is less than a 3rd round rookie pick. I mean, if you can go out there and if you can offer your third, if your rookie draft hasn't happened yet, and you have the 307, I'm trading that all day for Tevin Coleman. I believe that Tevin Coleman can easily be a running back 2 in San Francisco this season and really help provide league-winning upside for this price you're getting him at. And I know I use that term all the time, league-winning upside. And league-winning upside means different things for different players. It's all about the price that you're going to acquire them at. So if you can trade a late 3rd round rookie pick, which has the percentage chance of ever becoming anything significant at about like 10 to 13%. I haven't looked at historical hit rates for rookie picks in a very long time, so I could be off. But nonetheless, it's most likely a guy that's going to clog your roster and you're going to cut him after a couple of years. If you can go out there, get Tevin Coleman, who has an immediate RB2 upside, that's a price that I'd be willing to pay every single day. But the problem with Tevin Coleman is that price may have been available yesterday, but today is going to be a lot harder to come by. And I have a solution. I don't think we should go out there and necessarily try to trade that 3rd round rookie pick for Tevin Coleman right away because you're probably going to get rejected. But a player that you can trade for, maybe he's even on waivers. If you play in a league with me, he's not on waivers. I've been picking him up everywhere this offseason, is Jerick Mckinnon. Now I know Jerick McKinnon's another name that we have heard a million times. I mean, people are tired about talking with Jerick McKinnon. I mean, you bring up his name, people roll their eyes, and for good reason. I mean, he's been a guy that's had an insane amount of dynasty hype pretty much throughout his entire career. And if you remember, once he signed that extremely large deal in San Francisco, his dynasty value skyrocketed. I don't know if you remember that 2018 season, but I clearly do. I traded Jerick McKinnon for AJ Green. I mean, Jerick McKinnon was going at a 3rd round startup pick. I mean, it was prices that you would not have believed. Jerick McKinnon has his truthers, yet it has not worked out so far. But even though we've been down a long journey with Jerick McKinnon, he is still the same age as Raheem Mostert. He's 28 years old, and the problem with McKinnon and why he has not been able to see the field in San Francisco is strictly due to injuries. 2018, in the preseason, he tore his ACL, and in 2019, he had complications to the surgery that he had to repair that torn ACL, so he had to go in, get it repaired once again, and that led him to sitting out the entire 2019 NFL season. But here we go into 2020. Jerick McKinnon is reportedly fully healthy and ready to go. And this is a guy that I am excited about for the price that you can get him. I mean, if we look at his career, he's averaging 8 carries a game. This is all in the Minnesota just because we never got to see him in San Francisco. 33 yards a game, 4 yards a carry, But what's exciting is he's averaging 2.4 receptions a game. And that's what I love to see with Jerick McKinnon. I know that I brought up that being a great thing to look at for Tevin Coleman, but Jerick McKinnon's even better at catching the football. So if he gets that workload, I mean, you can pretty much guarantee that he's going to be the pass-catching running back in San Francisco. And if we look at that same Dynasty startup draft that I referenced earlier with Tevin Coleman, I took Jerick McKinnon as the RB82. I mean, this was behind the last rookie pick available in the draft, behind the 4.12. So Jerick McKinnon's out there where if you add him to a trade, people are not even going to consider it. People are going to go and they're just going to overlook him completely and then look at the other pieces in the trade. He's maybe even on your waiver wire. So what I'm going to do with Jerick McKinnon is I don't advise you going out there and making an offer straight up for Jerick McKinnon. I've said this on many videos, but it's hard to trade for those bottom of the roster guys straight up just because whoever has them is going to see that trade and be like, oh, what is this guy saying that I'm not? He's going to be more hesitant to trade you that player. But what you have to do is you have to go out there, make a trade with the guy that looks like just a regular trade. Maybe you're trading like Kerryon Johnson for Darrell Henderson, something along those lines, with two bigger pieces. They don't have to be massive. And then throw Jerick McKinnon at the end of it, and then he's going to be overlooked, and that's how you can acquire him for next to nothing. Guys, go out there. These two running backs, someone is going to score fantasy points in San Francisco. My bet is the guys who don't cost much at all, and that's where I'm putting my money down. And the only thing we really have to be concerned with is what if they bring in another running back? What if they decide to bring in Devonta Freeman? What if they go out there and trade for Kareem Hunt? That's really the only thing you have to worry about in the San Francisco 49ers situation if you're trading for these two extremely, extremely cheap pieces. And that's pretty much the entire reason behind the video. These guys are so cheap that even if it doesn't work out, I mean, whatever you paid to get them, they weren't most likely going to work out anyway. So it's just all upside for where you're at. And I definitely advise going out there, just tossing a penny in that owner's direction to try to pick up these cheap running backs on the back end of your roster. Now, that's all I got for you guys. Really hope you all enjoyed the video and have a great day.